It's been a long time coming, doesn't it? Lately I ain't been feeling passionate. Just know I'm coming out like an activist. Album dropping, I feel like a graduate. It's been a long time coming, doesn't it? Lately I ain't been feeling.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to What the Wrestling. My name is Billy Davis, and if you are new here, go ahead, drop a like, comment, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, do whatever it is that you do. Just know, regardless, I appreciate it. So Genesis of Impact has gone and passed us by, and it was a great show. Sorry for being quiet. You know, apartment living. No fun. Help me get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe. Right now, what I want to do is I want to go over the show. I have my notes here, so I'm going to kind of read off my notes a little bit. So if I'm not directly looking at the camera, my bad. But first of all, Genesis was kind of based around the Super Cup, which I thought was pretty cool for the X Division Championship. Or the X Division Super Cup tournament is what it was. And I can imagine the winner of that is going to go on and fight for the X Division title. So first of all, we had Ace Austin versus Suicide in round one. Ace Austin ends up picking up the victory. Great match. Obviously, Ace Austin is great. Suicide, great. You know, whoever it is that's in Suicide. But after that, we had Blake Christian taking on KC Navarro. Both of these guys, amazing talents. I've seen them a little bit, both KC Navarro mostly on AEW Dark, which, you know, TNA, AEW working together, or not TNA, but Impact. So definitely a good match. Blake Christian, you know, the very I got heart. KC Navarro, you know, braggadocious from Miami, you know, all about himself, you know, makes for a good story. So Blake Christian versus KC Navarro, round one, great match. KC Navarro ends up taking the loss to Blake Christian, who, again, his whole thing is he's got heart. So regardless, great match. I mean, Impact, I was talking to my buddy, might just be the best weekly television show that nobody knows about. But, you know, we'll save that for another time. So next we had Daivari versus Cousin Jake. And this story is based on Daivari being in the business for about 20 years. You know, obviously doing work in WWE. Also previously had done work in Impact. And he was facing Cousin Jake, who Cody had just... Actually, his cousin Cody had just turned on him to go work with Eric Young. This is kind of like my first introduction back into Impact from when I used to watch it, because obviously I'm doing this, so I want to, you know, bring as much content as I can. So excuse me if I'm botching some of this stuff, but, you know, Impact's a great show. Impact is great. But excuse me if I'm messing up with storylines, names, you know, my apologies. But Cousin Jake ends up picking up the victory in that match. And I love how they were all cutting promos, before their matches. I thought that was pretty cool, you know. Just being able to tell their backstory a little bit. You can never go wrong with that. But after that, we had Trey Lamar versus Crazy Steve. Crazy Steve I give more props to than anybody. Crazy Steve ended up picking up the victory. And I was talking to my buddy, and he was telling me that Crazy Steve is actually somewhat blind, which I find absolutely crazy, the fact that that man can wrestle without being able to see. And a lot of the times he's calling his spots and, you know, not being able to notice it. So props to Crazy Steve, and he ends up picking up the victory. So now we move on to round two of the Super X Cup tournament. So now we had Ace Austin versus Cousin Jake, and Madman had gotten involved. You know, kind of, you know, the size between him and Cousin Jake. And Ace Austin was able to pick up the victory. You know, obviously there was a distraction outside, which helped Ace Austin, who, from my understanding, is actually very cocky. So, I mean, Ace Austin is going to the finals. After that, we had Blake Christian versus Crazy Steve. So Blake Christian actually kicked Crazy Steve's. He walks out with a monkey, which I find really interesting. He walks out with a monkey, but Blake Christian actually kicked the monkey, and that set Crazy Steve off. Crazy Steve gets set off. Something happens, bad to him. Regardless, I mean, great match. Crazy Steve loses to Blake Christian. Again, Blake Christian's kind of whole running thing here is that he's got heart and charisma, and you love to see it. You love to see it. So Blake Christian is going on to the finals to take on Ace Austin. But after that, we had Jazz taking on Jordynne Grace, kind of to calm down the whole Super X Cup tournament. And Jazz ends up losing, and from my understanding, she hadn't been in Impact very long. And Jazz, obviously the older of the two, ends up taking the loss, putting over Jordynne Grace. Amazing, great show of sportsmanship. I think that's why I like Impact, because it's not necessarily the bad guy versus the good guy. It's just people wrestling, trying to feed their family and, put food on the table. And you can't do nothing but appreciate that. But next was the finals of the Super X Cup tournament, and we had Blake Christian taking on Ace Austin in what was a magnificent match. Like I said, fairly new to the new Impact stuff, and my word, these men can wrestle. Blake Christian ends up losing to Ace Austin. Ace Austin kind of hit like this, I don't even know what to call it. He just kind of like turned his body and fell with him. It was crazy. And, both guys looked really good. It was about a 20-minute match, and again, they can wrestle. Both guys very athletic, a lot of agility. And, man, but Ace Austin is your Super X Cup trophy holder, champion, whatever you want to call it. And I can imagine somewhere down the line, he is going to be getting a X Division championship shot. But now let's move on to the I Quit match. It was Willie Mack taking on Moose. Fun fact, I didn't even know. So I'll be honest with you guys. I had no idea that the TNA champion was Moose, because everybody keeps saying that Rich Swann is the Impact champion, but Willie Mack's walking out with his belt that's huge, and I'm like, well, wait, that's not right. But there's a story there. So, Willie Mack and Moose put on a brutal match. Willie Mack looks to, get some offense, but Moose kind of controlled the match from my understanding. And it's a weird story that they got going on here. So, Willie Mack hits him with the stunner, and then Moose is able to recapitalize over this, and he gets Willie's neck in a chair. And just as he's about to hit another chair on Willie Mack's neck, Rich Swann comes out. And this is where I was like, okay, there's a playing story here. And Rich Swann is telling, Moose, don't do it. This is this man's livelihood. Keep in mind, Willie Mack is unconscious. And the story before this is that a ref had stopped their last match between Willie Mack and Moose, and now Rich Swann was the reason that this match stopped. And Willie Mack wants to fight for himself, which, good story, you know what I mean? Great story. And Rich Swann ends up coming out, and he tells Moose, is this what you want? And he's holding the Impact Championship. So I'm like, okay, all right, I see it now. So these guys just kind of respect Willie Mack, or not Willie Mack, but Moose, to the point that he's allowed to hold this belt and walk out with it. But Moose ends up telling Rich Swann that yes, that is what he wants. He grabs the microphone and says that he quits. So Willie Mack ends up picking up the victory, but at what cost? I can imagine on Tuesday there will be a story to go into, but obviously all this is leading up to Hard to Kill, which is next Saturday, which we will be covering over here on What the Wrestling. Again, guys, I'm trying to put out as much content as I can while also packing to move, because I am going to be getting a better studio for you guys and making it look much better. I want a much better presentation, you know, one where I can actually show some character for you guys. And that's what will be coming soon. I will be showing more character and more life to you guys. It's just kind of hard doing it here, you know, because being on the top floor of my apartment building, sound travels, you know how it goes. But yeah, I wanted to record this video. I just finished watching Genesis. It should be out tonight, if not in the morning. So if you're watching it tonight, just know I put it out tonight. But either way, guys, again, you're new here, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, do whatever it is that you do. Just know, regardless, I appreciate it, and I will continue to appreciate it. I appreciate you guys, especially for all the new people that are actually tuning in now, because I think YouTube is starting to see a consistent upload base, but we will be seeing soon what happens there. But yeah, Impact's Genesis has gone past us. Hard to Kill next week. And tomorrow is, well, it's a relaxed day. So tomorrow we're just going to be talking some news stuff, you know, nothing too big. But, yeah, I appreciate you guys, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
It's been a long time coming, doesn't it? Lately I ain't been feeling passionate. Just know I'm coming out like an activist.